Ready. Play.
Let's put that out there. Speaking of English tennis fans, there was a comment earlier that someone mentioned that nobody apart from Cam Norrie's mother will believe he has a chance against Carlos Alcaraz on Tuesday. I guess that our colleagues in the Talking Tennis team, I'm thinking of James Steele, Peter Childs, maybe even Fergus might, or even Fanch might let himself get a little bit delusional at points. But here we go. We have their head-to-head. It is 4-2 in favour of Carlos Alcaraz. I'm not sure when Norrie won those two matches. I know one of them was the Rio Open final where Alcaraz got injured. Was that 2023? He's also won the most recent counter.
I remember the Cincinnati one. Alcaraz was definitely off, to say the least. Then, and I remember talking 2022, ages ago. The Rio one as well, obviously loads of asterisks there. I'm pretty sure Carlos was playing on one leg. So there's not much you can read into it, right? And especially over 5 sets with the buffer, it's like both of those matches were still pretty close. You do kind of feel like it's a given eventually, whatever happens.
Yeah. If Cam Norrie wins this match, I will chug a gallon of milk on this platform. There's a 0% chance that Cam Norrie, if people want to let themselves believe because they want to be disappointed, they're welcome to. But get real. Let's be Carlos Alcaraz is not losing this match. I am very interested to see what the crowd does here. Because I think that I assume that they're going to lean towards the Brit, but I don't know. Alcaraz is mighty hard to root against. If it's a hostile crowd, I could see Alcaraz struggling with that because I don't think that he's really faced hardly any in his career, has he?
I'm trying to think.
I don't see the crowd getting hostile, but if they were, that could present a challenge.
Yeah, I mean, he played Ollie Tarvett earlier, and even then, that was just more of a fun atmosphere. The crowd kind of knew that Tarvett didn't have much of a chance. I can't think of any other Brits he's played in Brit. Has he played any Americans at the US Open or in a US hardcourt?
Did he play
Tommy Paul?
Yeah.
Yeah, even then, I still feel like the crowd doesn't tend to go against him. It's just quite hard not to root for, isn't he?
It's hard to root against greatness in general. Somehow, a lot of folks find a way to do that against Djokovic, but not against. But Alcaraz is such a fun player and so exciting. Yeah, I agree with Jack. Just tough to see that happening.
Yeah, right. I mean, the only thing I can think of at the top of my head, and I'm now checking, has Alcaraz played a Frenchman at the French Open? That would be my
Yeah, that's the first thing I can think of because that will definitely get hostile because the French are just crazy with their support. Sometimes can get quite aggressive.
I'd love to see a Mute Alcaraz match where where the crowd gets into it. Yeah, that could be fun.
I tell you what, though, he's not played a Frenchman at the French Open, so
that day will come.
Ooh, is that a resume gap for Carlos Alcaraz?
100%, yeah. Beat a Frenchman in Roland Garros, 100%. Needs to do that.
Yep.
All right. Okay. So I think we're pretty much agreed that Carlos Alcaraz is the heavy favourite for this. Should have too much for Norrie in pretty much most departments. Even rally tolerance, which is where Norrie has a strength. And I would say also that Norrie's the thing that makes Norrie tricky is as well as the tolerance and him being able to keep on running. Alcaraz can do that, but also the kind of completely different shots you can get from him. Alcaraz is going to love it. That's the problem. So
he doesn't really get disrupted. It's just not. He's just so fucking. Oh, sorry.
Monetized. Thanks, Jack.
Bleep that. Sorry. So yeah,
I was just looking forward to that. 20p.
Yeah, apologies. I was going to say, so I was just a bit awestruck in my head about how amazing he is at this sort of stuff. He's just very good at improvising, regardless of where he is on the court. So you send him a lefty, kind of skims the net, Norrie backhand, and he just whips it down the line. It's the kind of stuff he can do where maybe other players would get a little bit unstuck by that kind of stuff. Seeing that, if Alcaraz has a bit of an off day, we could see maybe a set, maybe even a second set go the way of Cam Norrie because his forehand has been a little bit funky recently. But I still think whatever happens, Alcaraz comes up with something when it really matters. You're not going to see Cam Norrie raising the level in the fifth set.
The thing that's so exciting about Alcaraz, or one of the many things that's so exciting about him, is how many paths to victory he has. If his forehand's not working, he can come into the net more. If his serve's not working, he can win with his legs. He just can do it all. And so there's a world in which he doesn't win with whatever plan A is. I just don't see a world in which he doesn't win with plan B, C, or D, because they're also as good as anybody on the tour, not named Jannik Sinner, too.
Yeah.
All right. So, Jack, you've kind of said that Norrie could win a set or two if Alcaraz has an off day. Let's go ifs, buts, and maybes. Let's do a hard down the line. Is Cameron Norrie winning a set against Carlos Alcaraz? And if so, how many? Starting with you, Zach.
Maximum one, and that's just because Alcaraz gets bored or distracted.
Jack?
Yeah, I'll say he wins a set. I'll back it. I think he wins one set, but that's it.
I'm nailing my cards to Mars. I think given Alcaraz's kind of draw progress so far and how he seems to like at the moment going around the houses, I am also going to agree with Jack, and I'm going to say Cameron Norrie wins one set against him.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for your second $2 donation off the stream, Ghosty. Much appreciated. Thank you so much.
Because of that donation, I now will amend my punishment if Norrie wins. I will do the haka. I don't know how to do it. I will watch a YouTube video and I will do the haka if he wins. Nerlon's got a great question, which is how does Alcaraz get rushed badly in tournaments like the Australian Open, but he's barely uncomfortable on grass? And it's a great question. I don't really think I have an answer, gents. I'm wondering if y'all have any thoughts, because I can't really make sense of it.
I mean, does he get rushed at the AO? So I guess that would be my counter.
Maybe Cincinnati is a better one then.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, it takes a special kind of player to rush him. And I would argue that if he plays center at Wimbledon, he probably will look rushed.
Yeah, because if we think about the players, so Alcaraz has played the Australian Open 3 times, or was it 4? But definitely 3 times that I remember. And he lost to Berrettini in 22, didn't play 23, lost to Zverev in 24 and Djokovic in 25. And they were all very different losses.
Yeah. Yeah. And actually, I think kind of what Zach had suggested as well, there's obviously so many different ways Alcaraz can win, and that's more of an advantage on grass than it is on hard courts. So you've got all these other guys that maybe have like plan A's. Zverev's a good example, who maybe get away with that a bit more on hard courts because their serve's really good and they can just kind of grind from the back of the court. Where grass, you've got to come up with slice approaches, whatever it is to get into the net, some kind of crafty serving under pressure, like being able to hit your spots, all this kind of stuff, keep it low, whatever it is. Like where hard courts, you just don't have that room to kind of come up with something a bit different. So I feel like that's why Alcaraz, yes, he probably still does get rushed, but then there's other ways he can kind of unstick himself in certain points where he might not be able to do that in hard courts.
I think a big part of it too is, it was Cincinnati last year. That's one of the few times that I saw him really not having fun on a court. And so back now to where we started with the Norrie gamesmanship, if he can find a way to make Carlos Alcaraz not have a good time on the court, maybe he wins a second set. I still just I cannot squint. I've got an active imagination and I just cannot see a world in which Norrie can actually win this match. But, maybe he can steal a second set by, getting a little wacky with it.
All right. I think there we go. That is the full preview of Norrie Alcaraz.
If you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe and click that notification bell so you don't miss out on all things tennis.
Ready? Play.
Let's put that out there. Speaking of English tennis fans, there was a comment earlier that someone mentioned that nobody apart from Cam Norrie's mother will believe he has a chance against Carlos Alcaraz on Tuesday. I guess that our colleagues in the Talking Tennis team, I'm thinking of James Steele, Peter Childs, maybe even Fergus might, or even Fanch might let himself get a little bit delusional at points. But here we go. We have their head-to-head. It is 4-2 in favour of Carlos Alcaraz. I'm not sure when Norrie won those two matches. I know one of them was the Rio Open final where Alcaraz got injured. Was that 2023? He's also won the most recent encounter.
I remember the Cincinnati one. Alcaraz was definitely off, to say the least. Then, and I remember talking 2022, ages ago. The Rio one as well. Obviously, loads of asterisks there. Pretty sure Carlos was playing on one leg. So there's not much you can read into it, right? And especially over 5 sets with the buffer, it's like both of those matches were still pretty close. You do kind of feel like it's a given eventually, whatever happens.
Yeah.
If Cam Norrie wins this match, I will chug a gallon of milk on this platform. There's a 0% chance that Cam Norrie, like, if people want to let themselves believe because they want to be disappointed, they're welcome to. But like, get real. Let's be like, Carlos Alcaraz is not losing this match. I am very interested to see what the crowd does here. You know, because I think that I assume that they're going to lean towards the Brit, but I don't know. Alcaraz is mighty hard to root against. If it's a hostile crowd, I could see Alcaraz struggling with that because I don't think that he's really faced hardly any in his career, has he?
I'm trying to think.
I don't see the crowd getting hostile, but if they were, yeah, that could present a challenge.
Yeah, I mean, like, he played Ollie Tarvett earlier, and even then, like, that was just more of a fun atmosphere. The crowd kind of knew that Tarvett didn't have much of a chance. I can't think of any other Brits he's played in Brit. Has he played any Americans at the US Open or in a US hardcourt?
Did he play
Tommy Paul?
Yeah.
Yeah, even then, I still feel like the crowd doesn't tend to go against him. It's just quite hard not to root for, isn't he?
It's hard to root against greatness in general. Somehow, a lot of folks find a way to do that against Djokovic, but not against. But Alcaraz is such a fun player and so exciting. Yeah, I agree with Jack. Like, just tough to see that happening.
Yeah,
right.
I mean, the only thing I can think of at the top of my head, and I'm now checking, has Alcaraz played a Frenchman at the French Open? That would be my
Yeah, that's the first thing I can think of, because that will definitely get hostile because the French are just crazy with their like support. Sometimes can get quite aggressive.
I'd love to see a Mute Alcaraz match where
yeah.
where the crowd gets into it.
Yeah,
that could be fun.
I tell you what, though, he's not played a Frenchman at the French Open, so there you go.
That day will come.
Ooh, is that a resume gap for Carlos Alcaraz?
100%, yeah. Beat a Frenchman in Roland Garros, 100%. Needs to do that.
Yep.
All right. Okay. So I think we're pretty much agreed that Carlos Alcaraz is the heavy favourite for this. Should have too much for Norrie in pretty much most departments. Even like rally tolerance, which is where Norrie has a strength. Like, and I would say also that like the thing that makes Norrie tricky is, as well as the tolerance and him being able to keep on running, Alcaraz can do that, but also the kind of completely different shots you can get from him. Alcaraz is going to love it. That's the problem. So
yeah, he doesn't really get disrupted. Like, it's just not. He's just so fucking. Oh, sorry.
Monetized. Thanks, Jack.
Bleep that. Sorry. So yeah,
I was just looking forward to that. 20p.
Yeah, apologies. I was gonna say, sorry, I was just a bit awestruck in my head about how amazing he is at this sort of stuff. He's just very good at improvising, regardless of where he is on the court. So you send him a like lefty, kind of skims the net, Norrie backhand, and he just like whips it down the line. It's like the kind of stuff he can do where maybe other players would get a little bit unstuck by that kind of stuff. Saying that, if Alcaraz has a bit of an off day, we could see maybe a set, maybe even a second set go the way of Cam Norrie, because his forehand has been a little bit funky recently. But I still think whatever happens, Alcaraz comes up with something when it really matters. You're not going to see Cam Norrie raising the level in the fifth set.
The thing that's so exciting about Alcaraz, or one of the many things that's so exciting about him, is how many paths to victory he has. If his forehand's not working, he can come into the net more. If his serve's not working, he can win with his legs. He just can do it all. And so there's a world in which he doesn't win with whatever plan A is. I just don't see a world in which he doesn't win with plan B, C, or D, because they're also as good as anybody on the tour, not named Jannik Sinner, too.
Yeah.
All right. So Jack, you've kind of said that Norrie could win a set or two if Alcaraz has an off day. Let's go ifs, buts, and maybes. Let's do a hard down the line. Is Cameron Norrie winning a set against Carlos Alcaraz? And if so, how many? Starting with you, Zach.
Maximum one, and that's just because Alcaraz gets bored or distracted.
Jack?
Yeah, I'll say he wins a set. I'll back it. I think he wins one set, but that's it.
I'm nailing my cards to Mars. I think given Alcaraz's kind of draw progress so far and how he seems to like at the moment going around the houses, I am also going to agree with Jack, and I'm going to say Cameron Norrie wins one set against him.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for your second $2 donation of the stream, Ghosty. Much appreciated. Thank you so much.
Because of that donation, I now will amend my punishment if Norrie wins. I will do the haka. I don't know how to do it. I will watch a YouTube video and I will do the haka if he wins. Nerlon's got a great question, which is how does Alcaraz get rushed badly in tournaments like the Australian Open, but he's barely uncomfortable on grass? And it's a great question. I don't really think I have an answer, gents. I'm wondering if y'all have any thoughts, because I can't really make sense of it.
I mean, does he get rushed at the AO? So I guess that would be my counter.
Maybe Cincinnati is a better one then.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, it takes a special kind of player to rush him, and I would argue that if he plays center at Wimbledon, he probably will look rushed.
Yeah, because if we think about the players, so Alcaraz has played the Australian Open 3 times, or was it 4? But definitely 3 times that I remember. And he lost to Berrettini in 22, didn't play 23, lost to Zverev in 24 and Djokovic in 25. And they were all very different losses.
Yeah. Yeah. And actually, I think kind of what Zach had suggested as well, there's obviously so many different ways Alcaraz can win, and that's more of an advantage on grass than it is on hard courts. So you've got all these other guys that maybe have like plan A's. Zverev's a good example, who maybe get away with that a bit more on hard courts because their serve's really good and they can just kind of grind from the back of the court. Where grass, you've got to come up with slice approaches, whatever it is to get into the net, and some kind of crafty serving under pressure, like being able to hit your spots, all this kind of stuff, keep it low, whatever it is. Like where hard courts, you just don't have that room to kind of come up with something a bit different. So I feel like that's why Alcaraz, yes, he probably still does get rushed, but then there's other ways he can kind of unstick himself in certain points where he might not be able to do that in hard courts.
I think a big part of it too is, it was Cincinnati last year. That's one of the few times that I saw him really not having fun on a court. And so back now to where we started with the Norrie gamesmanship, if he can find a way to make Carlos Alcaraz not have a good time on the court, maybe he wins a second set. I still just I cannot squint. I've got an active imagination and I just cannot see a world in which Norrie can actually win this match. But, maybe he can steal a second set by, getting a little wacky with it.
All right. I think there we go. That is the full preview of Norrie Alcaraz.
If you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe and click that notification bell so you don't miss out on all things tennis. We welcome Norrie and Alcaraz, Norrie. Alcaraz against Norrie, which should be getting underway very shortly. They've just entered the court, by the way, so there you go. Does Pavlyuchenkova have an elbow issue? Not sure. So what is your native language then, Cedric? Is it English? For those of you tuning in, by the way, do hit the like button. And if you haven't done so already, please. We already know some of the semi-finalists from today. Taylor Fritz winning in 4 sets. Sabalenka after an incredible 3 sets encounter she had with Laura Siegemund. She won 6-4 in the third. So Pavlyuchenkova here serving at 2-3. We'll hone in, of course, on the Alcaraz Norrie match shortly, but they're currently warming up on centre court. And it's Anisimova winning the first point on the Pavlyuchenkova serve after Pavlyuchenkova puts her backhand wide. More. 15. Michael Stich in the commentary booth for German television, by the way, for the Alcaraz Norrie match, which is about to get underway. Good return there from Anisimova, but that forehand slice from Anisimova is not so effective. 30-15. So we see Alcaraz and Norrie just warming up. Good friends, these two, by the way. Cam Norrie affectionately calling Alcaraz Charlie, but I think he's not the only one to do so, by the way. But Carlos Alcaraz, 22 years old, 6 foot in height. He's seeded 2 this year, and his world ranking, of course, is also number 2 in the world. Former world number 1, and who knows, he may well reach those heights again one day, maybe even this year, who knows. The gap between him and Sinner is pretty far, but let's just say an Alcaraz US Open win might well get in there. Not too many points to defend in the latter stages of the year, apart from Beijing. He has dropped sets en route, 1 to Struff, 1 to Rublev, and 2, of course, to Fognini en route to the quarterfinals. A scream of come on there from Anisimova. She gets a break point on the Pavlyuchenkova serve. Okay, was she, Jay? I didn't see that. Backhand return that goes into the net from Anisimova, and we're at deuce. The umpire today is the Frenchman Damien Dumoussois. It's the chair umpire for the Alcaraz Norrie match. These two have contested, of course, a main tour final before in both Rio and in Buenos Aires. 1 apiece that was. In terms of the tournament, both players have hit 49 aces. How about that? And both players have won 73% of their first serves. Cam Norrie has hit 168 winners in the tournament, while Alcaraz has hit 169. Anisimova has a break point for 4-2. Good depth there from Anisimova. And there's a forehand slice that Pavlyuchenkova can't deal with. So now Anisimova leads by a set and a break. There you go. Cam Norrie and Alcaraz just practicing serves as they get ready to get underway in their Wimbledon quarterfinal, the final Wimbledon quarterfinal to start on this second week Tuesday. So Anisimova here serving 6-1-4-2. Ace from the American, who has looked a cut above her right. And that cut above continues, 4-2, 30-love. Meanwhile, it's Cam Norrie to serve first against Carlos Alcaraz in the final quarterfinal to start of the day. He puts his first serve into the net. So it's a second serve for Alcaraz to look at. Anisimova ace. So she has 40-love for a 6-1, 5-2 lead, 3 game points. $15 in the first game over on centre court. Anisimova holds comfortably. Pavlyuchenkova cutting a sorry figure right now. Okay, Norrie here on his serve, 15-30. Alcaraz readies himself to return. It's a backhand return, bunted backhand from Cam Norrie. You can see the dynamic that Alcaraz is pretty happy with right now. Alcaraz goes long there on the forehand, though, 30-all. Cam Norrie here with a game point. Forehand cross court, forehand into Alcaraz, backhand bunted down the line by Norrie. Slice from Alcaraz, another slice from Alcaraz. Slice now from Norrie. Forehand up the line from Alcaraz, got a lot of pace on it, but it's not won the point, and in fact, it's Alcaraz who goes long on the forehand. Meanwhile, Pavlyuchenkova serving to stay in the match at 2-5. Cam Norrie holds for 1-love. Double fault, Pavlyuchenkova. 30-15 Pavlyuchenkova as we hit the 1 hour mark in what's been a pretty swift encounter in terms of the fact that we might well be near the finish line. Long, long way back now for Pavlyuchenkova. Effectively, it is just one break of serve in this second set, but 5-2. 30 all, ladies and gentlemen. 30 all. Are we nearing the finish line in this encounter? 2 points away now, Anisimova, from a crushing win. 1 hour, 1 minute on the clock. Pavlyuchenkova to serve. 2-5, 30 all. Forehand return is pretty meaty, but it's not won the point outright, and she goes long on the forehand, so 40-30. Double fault from Carlos Alcaraz brings up love 30 in the opening game of that match. Sorry, the second game of that match. The opening service game for Carlos Alcaraz. Oh, lovely forehand winner there from Anisimova. Deuce. Lovely winner down the line from Norrie, the lefty. And it's love 40, 3 break points. Nice one, Pavlyuchenkova. Good serve. She's smiling. Alcaraz saves one of those break points, 15-40. Lovely return from Anisimova. Volleyed winner from Alcaraz, 30-40. Deuce, though, on number 1 court. Again, Anisimova just 2 points away from victory. She's yet to garner a match point, though. Good return there from Norrie. Nice forehand, though, from Alcaraz. Cross court from Alcaraz is decent. He's going to come into the net, but it's no need. He saves the third break point, and it's deuce. Advantage Pavlyuchenkova on number 1 point for another game point for the Russians. So still no match points for Anisimova. It's only a matter of time, though, surely. And she still remains 1 game away from victory.
Anisimova leads by 5 games to 3. Second set.
So Anisimova serving for the match because Pavlyuchenkova did eventually hold. And Norrie has another break point. Forehand return from Pavlyuchenkova. Lovely forehand winner, though, there from Anisimova, because that wasn't easy to deal with. 15 love. She is focused on a place in the Wimbledon semi-final and a match with Aryna Sabalenka. Norrie puts a forehand into the net, so it's back to deuce. Anisimova misses that forehand. 15 all. Alcaraz has a game point for 1-1. Anisimova 2 points away from a place in the Wimbledon semi-finals. Backhand return. It's a really good return from Pavlyuchenkova. She's got a smash here and she puts it away, 30-all. She gesticulates to the crowd, come on, and she's smiling.
30.
Down the tee, backhand return, forehand from Anisimova. Anisimova on the defense, Pavlyuchenkova on the attack, Anisimova on the defense, Pavlyuchenkova on the attack, and she puts it away, 30-40. Meanwhile, Alcaraz has held for 1-1.
30, 40.
30-40, comeback incoming, smiles all round. Break point, Pavlyuchenkova.
Let's. Passer.
Pavlyuchenkova goes long on the forehand. Meanwhile, Norrie serving at 1-1, 15-30 against Alcaraz. Advantage Pavlyuchenkova. Still, Anisimova cannot garner a match point. She's been on the precipice of victory in terms of being on that 5 figure for a couple of games now. But Pavlyuchenkova held, not facing a match point. And now Anisimova serving for the match, but not managing to garner a match point. But come on, she says, as she has an unreturned serve, bringing up juice. Norrie. The line there as chalk flies up. Double fault from Anisimova. Break point again for Pavlyuchenkova. A bit of nerves perhaps there for the American, even with the gaping gap between her and Pavlyuchenkova. Gaping gaps, probably the first time I've ever said that. There is a gap opening up, though, on centre court as Alcaraz breaks for 2-1. And Pavlyuchenkova breaks. Well. Anisimova there was serving for the match, but was unable to get over the line. Forehand error at the end, and Pavlyuchenkova breaks. When she returns, she's still got one more game to win, though, because it's 4-5, so she has to win that game, of course. As for Alcaraz and Norrie, they are at a change of ends as well. But Alcaraz has just broken, so he's opened up a mini gap, leading 2-1 after 12 minutes over on centre court. Do hit the like button. Your thoughts, either on the 2 matches that we've already seen Taylor Fritz winning in 4 sets over Karen Khachanov, and Arina Sabalenka winning in 3 sets over Laura Siegemund. Or perhaps you've got some thoughts on the 2 matches that are currently in play. Maybe you've got a prediction for Alcaraz Norrie, or maybe some thoughts on Anisimova Pavlyuchenkova. You're welcome to predict no need. Let's say that. Alcaraz enters the quarterfinals on an 18-match winning streak at the moment. Yeah. Beginning in Rome, I guess. The last match he lost was against Holger Rune in Barcelona, which feels like a long time ago. And by the way, that was certainly injury affected, as I think Alcaraz had an elbow injury in that encounter, or was it abductor? It meant he had to skip Madrid, one of his home tournaments. And then since then, he's won Rome, the French Open, Queens, and now he's in the quarterfinals at Wimbledon. You could even go back to Monte Carlo, of course, that he won. And so he's just lost 1 match since the clay court season began. Previous defeat to that, of course, was David Goffin in Miami. I think it was his first match in Miami as well. Okay, Pavlyuchenkova here serving to stay in the match. 15-love. Body serve, which is dealt with on the backhand from Anisimova. Backhand now from Pavlyuchenkova is going to miss. 15-all. Alcaraz here at love 30 on his serve, by the way. Good return there from Norrie. Good forehand winner there from Alcaraz. 15-30.
That's it.
$30 all Alcaraz Norrie. 15-30 here. Again, Anisimova. She just seems to be constantly 2 points away from victory at the moment. Down the tee, forehand return. Backhand from and now she's going to get some match points. After that backhand from Pavlyuchenkova goes long. 2 match points for Amanda Anisimova. It was a close goal. Look at that, millimeters. And you could hear it from the reaction of the crowd. And because of the reaction of the crowd, Pavlyuchenkova decides to look at the screen and see just how far it went out. And she shakes her head in frustration. $15.40, 2 match points. First serve goes into the net. I feel a blockbuster return coming here from Anisimova. Maybe Pavlyuchenkova feels the same. Is it going to add to her anxiety? 15-40. Forehand return. Backhand from Pavlyuchenkova is decent. Forehand from Pavlyuchenkova into the backhand of Anisimova. Backhand from Pavlyuchenkova down the line. And it's got a really low bounce, making it really tricky for Anisimova to deal with. And she can't deal with it. She nets on the forehand side. And Pavlyuchenkova saved the first of the 2 match points. Whew. 30-40, Pavlyuchenkova serving here. She's got a first serve. Where's she going to go with this first serve? She goes down the tee, lands it in. Backhand drop shot from her, but it's not going to be good enough to win the point outright. But Anisimova cannot chase it down and then get it over the net. Deuce. Pavlyuchenkova, by the way, she had long had a sponsorship deal with Lacoste, but that seems to not be in place anymore, as I see a difficult to make out shirt from her in terms of the sponsor or the Powell. Clips the net and lands in, so it's going to be another first serve for Pavlyuchenkova. Alcaraz consolidated his break and leads 3.
Pavlyuchenkova.
Advantage Pavlyuchenkova. She wins 3 points in a row, saving 2 match points. 4.5 minutes now this game is. She has a game point for 5-all. Ooh, forehand goes into the net from Pavlyuchenkova at deuce.
Juice.
Forehand winner down the line, Pavlyuchenkova. Game point once again for the Russian unseeded player. And very much underdog in this encounter from the minute the first ball was struck. Game Pavlyuchenkova as Anisimova hits the return long, saving 2 match points. 5-all.
5 games all. Second set.
Double fault Anisimova.
Love 15.
And Alcaraz has a double break advantage in the first set. 4-1, 15 love.
Love 13.
Love 30 now on the Anisimova serve. Is Pavlyuchenkova going to break and then serve for the second set? That would be wild, considering where we were at. Come on, though, says Anisimova, as she wins the next point as Pavlyuchenkova hits a backhand long, 15-30. Alcaraz with 3 game points for a 5-1 lead. And he's taken it with a serve +1 on the backhand side. 5-1 he leads. That was a swift hold there for Carlos. 1 minute and 19 seconds. Meanwhile, second serve here, Anisimova, Pavlyuchenkova. Forehand winner from Anisimova. I thought I heard a net cord clip there as it went through. But anyway, it's 30-all. Anisimova holds in the end.
Anisimova leads by
6 games to 5. Meanwhile, what is going on between Alcaraz and Norrie? Norrie is serving to stay in the first set, but he does lead 40-15 on his serve. Okay. Coming up tomorrow at the beginning will be Miro Andreeva against Bencic on centre court, followed by Kaboli against Djokovic. Those two matches will be on centre court. On number 1 court will be Swiatek Samsonova, followed by Sinner against Shelton. I wonder if Kaboli's post-match comments, by the way, saying, please put me on a show court. Well, of course, he was always going to be on a show court for the quarterfinal, but I don't know, for me, Sinner Shelton is a bit more centre court worthy than Kaboli Sinner, but hey, what do I know? Anisimova's 22nd Grand Slam appearance. Her best result was a semi-final at Roland Garros in 2019, where she lost to Ash Barty. Okay, Pavlyuchenkova serving to stay in the match. What a return winner that is from Anisimova. Forehand aggression there from Anisimova. Love 30. Norrie holds, by the way. So Alcaraz is going to serve for the first set of 5-2. Alcaraz winning the first point on serve here, 5-2, 15 love. Meanwhile, Pavlyuchenkova wins the next point for 15-30. Good serve there from Pav, but well dealt with by Anisimova. Is Anisimova going to get some more match points? No, not yet. Anyway, 30 all. Oh, what a return there from Cam Norrie for 15 all. Anisimova misses the return, 40-30. She slumps to her knees. She looks like it's not quite a meltdown. We're a long way from that, but she's very disappointed with how it's gone from 5-2, losing. She lost 3 games in a row. She arrested that slide by holding serve, but anyway. And she's missed that forehand. We're going to go to a tie break. 6 all. Alcaraz with 2 set points.
Second set.
Tie break. Nice volley at the net there from Alcaraz. He seals the first set by 6 games to 2 over Cam Norrie. Comfortable is the best way to describe that first set for the Spaniard. Okay, tie break between Anisimova and Pavlyuchenkova. Anisimova serving first. Lovely backhand there, Anisimova. Good defense, though, from Pavlyuchenkova. But that wasn't so good from the Russian. She hits it long.
1-0. Anisimova. 1-1.
1-1. Pavlyuchenkova serving here. Can she force a deciding set? Good return there from Anisimova. Backhand here from Anisimova. Forehand Pavlyuchenkova. Backhand Anisimova. Come on, says Anisimova with that incredible depth there with that shot, forcing the error. 2-1 she leads. Mini break advantage for the American.
Requesting a replay of the call on the right baseline.
Oh, dearie me. Wimbledon, don't tell me you're messing up here again. This is just getting beyond a joke. But as it turns out, the replay suggests it clips the line. But Pavlyuchenkova doesn't believe it. And I can understand why. Wimbledon has been an absolute shambles regarding the technology. But it's not really a surprise given who manages the tournament. Anyway, 2-1, Anisimova leads. Second serve. Oh, nice return there, Pavlyuchenkova. 2-2. And once again, Anisimova falls to the ground in disappointment more than balance. Alcaraz, just incredible tennis. 3-2, Pavlyuchenkova. Now it's Pavlyuchenkova with a mini break advantage. Pavlyuchenkova 3-2. So 3-3, change of ends. Alcaraz has a break point on center court. Saved by Norrie. Nice serve, Pavlyuchenkova. Clipping the line. Clipping the service line. 4-3 now, Pavlyuchenkova leads. Alcaraz on the attack, but he misses that forehand. So it's a game point now for Norrie. Pavlyuchenkova pushing Anisimova from one side to the other. And she now leads this tiebreak 5-3. She was down and out at this match at 6-1, 5-2. She smiled as she held for 5-3. Like smiled as in like nice to win a game. What a return from Pavlyuchenkova, and Anisimova can't deal with it. She has 6 set points. Sorry, not quite 6. But she has 3 set points, does Pavlyuchenkova. And there's another wry grin from her box. 6-3. First serve goes long by some distance as well. Backhand return from Anisimova. Backhand down the line from Anisimova is too good. 6-4.
6-4. Pavlyuchenkova.
Lovely return from Anisimova there. Too good. 6-5. Both of those serves from Pavlyuchenkova were returned with absolute venom from the American. Still going to be one more set point, but this time it's on the Anisimova serve. What about that return from Pavlyuchenkova? Forehand. Pavlyuchenkova goes into the net, though, and it's 6-all. 3 set points have come and gone. Wow. Over on centre court, Alcaraz leads 6-2, having won the first set, 6-2, sorry, and now on serve at the beginning of the second. One hour, 34 minutes now for this Anisimova-Pavlyuchenkova match. Looked like we'd be done in about an hour and a quarter, but the last 20 minutes has seen a dramatic twist in this encounter. Are we going to get a few more, or is it going to be done? Return from Pavlyuchenkova, I think is too good. It is. A 4th set point. For Anastasia Pavlyuchenkova. Anisimova's had 2 match points. Come and go. Anisimova hitting that ball with venom, and she saves another set point. 7-all. 4 set points have come and gone, and 3 of them were on the Pavlyuchenkova serve. Norrie, by the way, 1-all at the beginning of the second set. I'll come to the live chat shortly, but at the moment, it's drama on court number 1. First serve doesn't land. Is it going to be 5 for Pavlyuchenkova or match point number 3 for Anisimova? Forehand return. It's going to go long. So it's going to be a 5th set point for Pavlyuchenkova. It's on the Anisimova serve, but that doesn't seem to really matter right now. Sue Barker in the crowd on centre court. She shakes her head at something Alcaraz has done, probably that drop shot. Nice from Alcaraz. Okay, set point number 5. Why am I whispering? Don't know. Doesn't matter. Oh, the forehand return goes into the net, and it's 8-all. 5 set points have come and gone for Pavlyuchenkova now. All coming in this tiebreak, by the way. She had a 6-3 lead. Good return. Oh, well done, Anisimova, though. Whistling the rally. She passes her. Wow. Anisimova, incredible defense getting that back over the net, and then also incredible composure to pass Pavlyuchenkova at the net. And we're going to have a 3rd match point for Anisimova. Honestly, I don't know which way to look right now. As I do a Jerry Francis, if you know who he is. He used to do this all the time in interviews. Former football manager and player, QPR among others, and Spurs. Okay, 8-9 here, Pavlyuchenkova. Into the body of Anisimova, but she misses the return. And she's so annoyed. 9-all. Change of ends. Wow. Norrie Alcaraz, by the way, 1-all deuce on the Norrie serve at the beginning of the 2nd set. I'll come to some of your comments in a moment. Loads of comments here in the chat that I've missed. I do apologize. Alcaraz is better on grass than on clay. What are you saying, says Nerlan? No, but there's more competition on the clay. That's why the results seem a bit more lopsided on the grass, i.e. 2 Queen's titles and 2 Wimbledon titles. I mean, he's basically winning most of these grass court titles that he enters since 2023. Did the Queen's Wimbledon double that year, won Wimbledon last year, and is on the verge of a Queen's Wimbledon double this year. Well, not quite on the verge, but you know what I mean. Oh, what a passing shot from Anisimova. 10-9. 4th match point for Amanda. I thought Pavlyuchenkova was in charge at that point, but maybe the fact that Anisimova didn't have many options really helps her in terms of the mental side of this tense tiebreak. 10-9. Anisimova. She gets a first serve in here, and you'd fancy her chances of finally getting over the line. Body serve. Gets it over the line. She does. Finally. Into the body. Pavlyuchenkova, that fight back in the 2nd set, in the end, proved fruitless. Anisimova was the better player, but listen, what a 2nd set that was. Pavlyuchenkova will have some regrets with those 5 set points coming and going, but it's Anisimova who gets over the line, 6-1, 7-6. It was tough for her. She led 6-1, 5-2. She had 2 match points as well that came and went. But as we went into that tiebreak, you were fearing the worst in terms of her mental side of things. Pavlyuchenkova having 5 set points as well during that tiebreak. She led it 6-3. That was the moment when it went from 6-3 to 6-all. You then thought, okay, and although she had a couple more set points thereafter, Pavlyuchenkova gathers herself and her things. Someone maybe can let me know who that young chap is who's about to come on court. Pavlyuchenkova goes off court. Bless her. She waves to the crowd. It's another deep run for her at a slam that comes to an end, falling just short. Someone in the live chat can maybe let me know who that young person is who's just joined Anisimova on court. But it's the American who goes through to set up a semi-final with Aryna Sabalenka. One hour, 39 minutes. We're going to hear from Anisimova now for her on-court interview. 6-1, 7-6. She has beaten Anastasia Pavlyuchenkova.
Well, we have a couple of people to congratulate. Not only do we have Amanda Anisimova making it through to the semi-finals of Wimbledon for a first time.
I want to be up? No?
Amanda, who have we got here with you?
This is my nephew, Jackson, and he flew in this morning.
Oh, wow.
And it's his birthday on Thursday.
Ah, her nephew, Jackson, who's going to celebrate. Going to be 4 on Thursday, the day that her auntie plays a Wimbledon semi-final.
And able to go through such an eventful match and look so fresh.
Yeah,
well done, Jackson.
Yeah, he's more tough than me. He's the older brother, so.
If you don't mind, I'm going to have to ask you about that extraordinary match, Amanda. The first set, 6-1. The second set, I'm going to find it hard to explain to people, so I'll let you do it.
Yeah, I mean, it was such a battle today. I was up there in the second set, and yeah, she started to play some unreal tennis, and I just kept fighting, and yeah, the tie break was super stressful, but yeah, I'm just so happy that I got it done and super excited to be in the semifinal for the first time. It's super special, and yeah, thank you.
And obviously, you've clearly got a good luck charm in Jackson.
Yeah.
But some very important people that are here with you, supporting you.
Yeah, I mean, my whole team here, this wouldn't have been possible without them, and being so tough in that tiebreaker. I mean, I think they're the ones who, you know, have implemented that in me. And yeah, my sister is here with her husband, and I'm just super grateful that, you know, they flew in and got to experience this with me. Yeah, it doesn't happen often, so it's just super special.
Jake will be pleased with that.
And I know it's been well documented, but you had a period where you took a break from the game of tennis. You needed to just get away from things, reset yourself, and come back. Can you quite imagine the level that you've achieved through 2025 so far?
Yeah, I mean, it's been an extraordinary year for me. So many highs, and yeah, it's just been such a ride, and I've been enjoying every step of the way. And even times like today when, you know, you're not sure you're going to cross the finish line, and I just keep reminding myself to enjoy the moment. It's not often you get to play on this special court in front of so many special people. Thank you guys so much for the atmosphere. It was incredible.
Well, Amanda, many congratulations, and thank you for allowing Jackson to share this moment with us. Thank you, Jackson. Amanda Anisimova through to the semi-finals at Wimbledon.
There we go, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you to those that joined us for the Anisimova Pavlyuchenkova ride, which has seen Anisimova eventually get through 6-1, 7-6. And you could join us on the other side now for Alcaraz and Cam Norrie. Alcaraz, Cam Norrie, very much the focus now, with Alcaraz leading 6-2, 3-1 in what has been a largely one-way traffic encounter. Alcaraz had to save a couple of break points at the beginning of the match, but since then it's been, as I say, one-way traffic. It's right now, by the way, 6-2, 3-1, love 15 on the Cam Norrie serve. So a dominant performance just gathers even more pace for the Spaniard. Nice touch there, though, from Norrie at the net. 15 all. Forehand return from Alcaraz. Just clip the net on the way through, but doesn't really change its trajectory. Alcaraz goes big on that forehand. It goes long, and we get a come on from Cam Norrie. Do hit that like button. And of course, if you're new to the channel, please do hit subscribe. 2 game points now for Cam Norrie. Mishit shot there from Alcaraz, and it is 3-2 at the change of ends. We'll take a quick break. Thanks for tuning into this watch along. While there's a break in play, here's a reminder to hit the like button, subscribe, and click that notification bell. Your support helps to keep the channel going. While we're here, you can now become a member to enjoy perks including badges for the live chat, but also bonus material such as interviews with top players from both ATP and WTA tours. The membership link is pinned in the live chat. You can also follow us on Twitter, Facebook and Instagram. So whether it be serves or volleys, forehands or backhands, serve bots or drop shots, we've got you covered, whether that be via our website, talking-tennis.com, where you can read features and interviews from our top writers. Or if you prefer us in audio form, you can subscribe to our podcast on Apple, Amazon or Spotify or wherever you get your podcasts from. Remember, we offer you wall-to-wall coverage via our regular watch-alongs, magazine shows such as Nick's WTA Weekly or Damien and Mario's ATP version. Plus, we deliver top content from people on the ground, actually at the tournaments, so you get even nearer to the action. So, what are you waiting for? Hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on all things tennis. And I'm back, by the way. (40-30) here on the Alcaraz serve. Backhand from Alcaraz, forehand from Norrie, backhand Alcaraz, backhand Norrie. Come on there from Norrie as he gets to juice. Drop shot from Alcaraz is not going to get over the net. So it's a break point for Norrie for 3-all. Is this Alcaraz going wandabout? Wandabout? Walkabout? You know what I mean. Ace Alcaraz. Nice serve from Carlos. Clutch. Break point down. He's now got a game point. Team Alcaraz. He holds. (4-2) Alcaraz. Volley put away there, though, from Norrie. Alcaraz, they're looking at the turf that he just had a mini stumble on. Alcaraz goes long on the backhand. It's going to be 40-love Norrie. Alcaraz goes big on that forehand, forcing the error, 40-15. (40-15). Down the tee, Cam Norrie, ace, hole. Back in a moment. Thanks for tuning into this watch along. While there's a break in play, here's a reminder to hit the like button, subscribe, and click that notification bell. Your support helps to keep the channel going. While we're here, you can now become a member to enjoy perks including badges for the live chat, but also bonus material such as interviews with top players from both ATP and WTA tours. The membership link is pinned in the live chat. You can also follow us on Twitter, Facebook and Instagram. So whether it be serves or volleys, forehands or backhands, serve bots or drop shots, we've got you covered, whether that be via our website, talking-tennis.com, where you can read features and interviews from our top writers. Or if you prefer us in audio form, you can subscribe to our podcast on Apple, Amazon or Spotify or wherever you get your podcasts from. Remember, we offer you wall-to-wall coverage via our regular watch-alongs, magazine shows such as Nick's WTA Weekly or Damien and Mario's ATP version. Plus, we deliver top content from people on the ground, actually at the tournaments, so you get even nearer to the action. So, what are you waiting for? Hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on all things tennis. Okay. Alcaraz here, serving 4-3-15 all. Backhand goes long. He had to save a break point in his previous service game. He's going to have to save some more here. We'll see. $30 all. Game point, Carlos Alcaraz for 5-3 after a forehand winner, his 8th of the match. The number 2 seed as he's bearing down on a place on the Wimbledon semi-finals once again. 3rd year in a row, he's threatening to get to that stage. 4th year in a row, by the way, he's made the 4th round or further. Alcaraz, lovely volley at the net there, 5-3. Love here, Cam Norrie. Forehand Alcaraz into the backhand of Norrie. Of course, backhand because he's a lefty, even though it's going cross court. Nice from both players. They're getting really close to the line, but in the end, it's Norrie who errs with the forehand clipping the net and going out. It was a difficult angle for the Brit. Backhand return from Alcaraz. Backhand. Forehand now from Norrie. Drop shot. Alcaraz is going to be too good. 15-30. $30-40 now on the Norrie serve here for 2 sets to love lead for Carlos Alcaraz. Backhand return. Lands in. Forehand from Norrie. Forehand from Alcaraz. Looping. Forehand from Alcaraz is decent, but not big. But it's enough because Norrie's net on the backhand side. The tactic is working. We will take a break and we'll see you for the 3rd set. Hey, thanks for taking the time to, well, you haven't got any choice, actually. I'm just talking at you, if you like. But I'm here also to present to you why I think it's not a bad idea and not that expensive as well if you become a member. And this is how you can do it, and this is what you can gain. So if we look here at the Talking Tennis sort of home page, if you like, on YouTube, we can see this little button here which says join. It is also pinned in the live chat as well, and you can also, I think, see it just below most of our videos, certainly the live ones and so on. Now, why is it a good idea to join and become a member? Well, in the live chat, you can add little funny things, you can add emojis and all sorts of things, but possibly more importantly, you can get to access some live videos, such as this one here, where we look back on the last sort of few moments from the Billie Jean King Cup. So there are little bonuses such as this one, but there are many, many more. And in fact, if we have a quick look at all of the members only stuff, I repeat, you will see very, very quickly some of the top stuff that we've had for members only over the last 12 months since the channel began. Remember, these videos are for members only. You can become a member from as little as about $2 a month, €2 a month, £2 a month, something like that. There are various different things. Oh, and by the way, you'll also be supporting the channel. So it's a win-win-win-win scenario. Let me just show you some of the members only stuff. For example, we've got an exclusive little clip there talking to Laura Siegmund, Laura Tsurenko, her encore interview, some doubles footage there from Monastir, the Germany press conference pre-tournament Billie Jean King Cup, Claire Burrell talking as well to the media in her press conference in Monastir, Storm Hunter and Alicia Parks interview, Rebecca Masarova, her press conference, Coco Gauff exclusive for members only, albeit it was in Madrid, but these are just some of the things, some of the interviews and etc. Like Lestien here, a chat with him, Emma Navarro, and so on and so forth. So many little bonus videos available for just €2 a month. So, what are you waiting for? Become a member. Or don't. It's okay. Hey, thanks for taking the time to, well, you haven't got any choice, actually. I'm just talking at you, if you like. But I'm here also to present to you why I think it's not a bad idea and not that expensive as well if you become a member. And this is how you can do it, and this is what you can gain. So if we look here at the Talking Tennis sort of home page, if you like, on YouTube, we can see this little button here which says join. It is also pinned in the live chat as well, and you can also, I think, see it just below most of our videos, certainly the live ones and so on. Now, why is it a good idea to join and become a member? Well, in the live chat, you can add little funny things, you can add emojis and all sorts of things, but possibly more importantly, you can get to access some live videos, such as this one here, where we look back on the last sort of few moments from the Billie Jean King Cup. So there are little bonuses such as this one, but there are many, many more. And in fact, if we have a quick look at all of the members only stuff, I repeat, you will see very, very quickly some of the top stuff that we've had for members only over the last 12 months since the channel began. Remember, these videos are for members only. You can become a member from as little as about $2 a month, €2 a month, £2 a month, something like that. There are various different things. Oh, and by the way, you'll also be supporting the channel. So it's a win-win-win-win scenario. Let me just show you some of the members only stuff. For example, We've got an exclusive little clip there talking to Laura Siegmund, Laura Tsurenko, her encore interview, some doubles footage there from Monastir, the Germany press conference pre-tournament Billie Jean King Cup, Claire Burrell talking as well to the media in her press conference in Monastir, Storm Hunter and Alicia Parks interview, Rebecca Masarova, her press conference, Coco Gauff, exclusive for members only, albeit it was in Madrid. But these are just some of the things, some of the interviews and etc. Like Lestienne here, a chat with him, Emma Navarro, and so on and so forth. So many little bonus videos available for just €2 a month. So, what are you waiting for? Become a member. Or don't. It's okay. And we are back, ladies and gentlemen. I like that question, by the way, from Ghosty in the chat. We are here, of course, focusing on Cam Norrie against Carlos Alcaraz. Regarding adversarial journalism, does it not exist anymore? I'm not sure if it ever did exist. There's a famous journalist in the UK called Jeremy Paxman. I guess he was pretty contrarian. And I guess he was extremely adversarial. Andrew Neil would argue that he was, but he was still very much under the Murdoch guise. Of course, I apologize that my familiarity with journalism is very much British slanted, maybe a bit less so in recent years, but yeah, it's kind of where does journalism end and PR begin? In tennis, everyone has an element of PR, let's say, but maybe some more so than others. You know, let's take the British press pack and tennis players. Just talking about the sport itself, just the actual point by point element to it. Yeah, it's tricky. It's tricky to it's a deep question and a deep topic. Generally not just sports. Maybe adversarial journalism is more of an American thing. Okay. Sure. I would necessarily agree. Alcaraz leading here 2-1. Anyway, you've obviously read something or seen something that's just made you even more skeptical than ever, but I think that skepticism is justified. Somewhere between most and all journalists, you know, it's up to you. I would take umbrage with anyone that said that most journalists or anything less than most journalists were not just PR machines trying to get you to go in a particular way or just buy that toothpaste that is coming up on a commercial very, very shortly. That's it. So there might be a few odd exceptions, and you might get some examples of that. Of course, you know, some of the exposés of certain religions, let's say, can take their Their hats off perhaps to those people, but what is that? 1%, probably less. Everybody knows where they stand, whether it be on a conflict or whether it be domestic politics, or, as I say, just trying to get you to buy whatever the commercial is coming up. Okay. Yeah, let's just bring it back to small time talking tennis. I have seen Spotlight, yes. You know, if let's just say we had a sponsorship with a particular racket brand, where are we going to go? What are we going to be talking about? Which racket is going to be the best? Yeah, of course. And by the way, you know, this is certainly the more innocent end of it. And by the way, maybe we do get the racket brand of my preference. If we do, but even if we don't, you know, suddenly we're promoting the other racket brand. I think basically, and this is evident in the way that the sporting apparel, you know, let's say Alcaraz was offered more money to wear Adidas. He's wearing Adidas, not because he thinks Adidas is better, but because there's more money in it, and so on and so forth. You get the idea. Okay, Norrie here serving 1-2, 30-15, second serve. You know, incentives, but there are some more sinister than others, let's say. 2 game points here for Cam Norrie. Drop shot Alcaraz is not going to make it, so it's going to be 2 games all. Fist pumps all round in the crowd as they believe that Norrie's on the beginning of a comeback. I'm not so sure. Yeah, indeed. Wilson, yeah, of course. I see you've said Wilson. Dunlop. What are the other racket brands out there? Are we missing? I mean, the big ones, you're right. Babolat, Wilson are the 2 biggest. I think Technofiber probably come in a third because I just saw the number of players that they have in the top 20. I think it's basically Medvedev on the men's side and Swiatek on the women's. I think that might be it. Yeah, no, here's Carlitos right where he wants him. That's nice. I like that. 2-all. Alcaraz serving. Winning the first 2 sets pretty comfortably, 6-2, 6-3. I think it had an interesting start to the match that made me think, oh, hang on a second. Maybe we are going to get another one of these leaky matches where Alcaraz drops a set. But that was the beginning of the match, and it hasn't looked like it since. Anyway, 2 sets to love, 2-all, 15 love here. Oh, yeah, Yonex, Prince, yeah. Probably both of them are ahead of Dunlop now. Slazenger as well. They were one from the past. Alcaraz here, 30 love on his serve. Alcaraz holds for 3-2. Yeah, I don't know if I like the aesthetic of all old technology. What about Ghosty? Talking of old technology, what about a good old guillotine? Does that hang on your wall nicely, or Do they hang on? Can you hang a guillotine? I think so, yeah. I think you can hang it on a wall. Some old technology ages better than others, let's say. Two, three. Are you going to go to Cincinnati, Ghosty? Is Alcaraz going to make his move now in this third set here? I'm going to say yes. Backhand return from Carlos, forehand from Norrie. Norrie doesn't pick that one up, and so it's love 15. Forehand return, backhand from Norrie. Slice here from Alcaraz. Slice from Norrie goes into the net. Love 30. What did I say about Alcaraz making his move? It's like some people on his coaching staff, they're showing him how to slice. Backhand Norrie, forehand from Alcaraz. Backhand from Norrie, forehand Alcaraz. That's the dynamic. You think Norrie might fancy a shot down the line into the backhand of Carlos, but he's not going for it as they continue their cross courts. Now it's on the forehand of Norrie. Now it's going to go long. Love 43 break points for Carlos Alcaraz. And a 4-2 lead. Gary Lineker. I'll come to that in a second. Ghosty, random question. 1540, by the way, but 2 break points more to say for Cam Norrie here. To the net there on the first serve. Oh, that's the dynamic that Carlos has been loving today. And yeah, 4-2 he leads after 19 minutes in this third set. 1 hour 27 in total for the match. Quickly on Gary Lineker. He's still got his podcast and media empire, if you like. Empire's probably a bit of a strong word that he's building. Where they cover football, politics, and entertainment. I think it comes under the rest is. So it's the rest is entertainment, the rest is politics, the rest is football. But I guess semi-retired is probably the best way of putting it. Okay, yeah, I think there may have been some adjustments to the facilities in Cincinnati. Yeah, may well have been. Okay, 4-2, 15 love here, Carlos Alcaraz. Coming up to 20-7 local time. Cam Norrie wins this and it'll be a miracle. I think it would be a miracle from the beginning of the match. What was it? Was said by Zach the other day. It would be 0%. Backhand return from Norrie. Forehand from Alcaraz goes into the net. 40-15. Here we go. Norrie's about to make his move. Now's the time, Ghosty, to say that Norrie's got Carlos just where he wants him. (40-15). 2 game points here for Alcaraz and a 5-2 lead. Goes out wide, and he's going to hold for 5-2. 1 game away from his 3rd Wimbledon semi-final in succession. Ice towel for Cam Norrie. Is it that hot today in London? Does it really warrant an ice towel? Let me know in the live chat what you think. Aces and Alcaraz has been a theme in recent months, especially coming up at really big moments. In the Rome final, in that first set tiebreak, I think he had 2 then. And he also came up with them as well at huge moments in the French Open final too. It's a thing, ladies and gentlemen. It's a thing. Yeah, Norrie's laid a trap. So clever, so wily. We talk about Laura Siegemund being wily. Well, listen, she ain't got nothing on Cam. Carlos has no idea what's about to hit him indeed. Oh, Cam, forehand into the net, love 15. Alcaraz serving first, so from 2-1, 2-2. I think it was 2-2, and he's won 3 games in a row, has Carlos. Backhand return, forehand, no, he's going to miss. Love 30. Come on, Cam, says someone. I think someone in a box as well, in the box of Cam. Oh. Love 30. Cam Norrie serving. Where are you going with this? You're going to go down the tee. Backhand return from Carlos. Forehand from Cam Norrie. Ooh, nice volley, Cam. 15-30. Look at that out wide serve. What an angle that Cam Norrie has found there. If only he could have found that a few more times today, and he might well have been in a better position. That was demon. 30 all. Okay, shall we give it some volume? $30 all. First serve into the net. Is Alcaraz going to get it done on the Cam Norrie serve? Backhand return. Forehand Cam Norrie. Backhand Alcaraz. Backhand Norrie goes into the net. 30-40. Match point for Alcaraz. 1 hour, 33 minutes on the clock. With a dominant display from the Spaniard thus far. Okay. Cam Norrie serving. Goes long. Don't think Alcaraz is going to do a Mira Andreeva and not be aware of this. He knows where we're at. Forehand return from him into the backhand of Norrie, which is bunted back. Forehand Alcaraz, forehand from Cam Norrie, and the Alcaraz forehand's going to go long, so it's a deuce. Backhand return from Carlos. Forehand from Cam Norrie is going to go cross court. Alcaraz on the defense. Cam Norrie again go back in behind Alcaraz. That may have been a smart decision, especially if he can put that smash away, which he can't outright. Second smash on him. Is this going to land in from Alcaraz? No, it's not. 2 smashes there it needed to get the job done, and even the second one was by no means certain. And they were pretty good smashes, I would say. Maybe lacking a bit of pace, but pretty good placement. Look at this angle he's creating here on that lefty serve. He's going to go right out wide. I mean, it's just so predictable. At least Alcaraz knows where it's going. And is Cam Norrie going to win the point? Drop shot Alcaraz is not going to land. So Cam Norrie holds. Just clipped the net and came back onto Alcaraz's side there. Biggest underdog champion in Open era. I don't know. I mean, even Istovic, of course, was a wild card, but he had such pedigree at the tournament, hence he got the wild card. I mean, Krajicek, I don't know. I have no idea where he was ranked at the time. But Malavai Washington, his opponent, of course, was a bit wild. Okay, Alcaraz here serving for the match. Cam Norrie goes long on the forehand side, 15 love. Pat Cash, I don't think it's wild. It's kind of surprising when he beat Boris Becker in that final. Mikhail Stick was also a surprise, but I think he was building a bit of a portfolio. Goes down the tee. Oh, Alcaraz dumping that fairly rudimentary backhand volley into the net. So it is 15 all. I'm just thinking of basically mid-80s onwards because I can't think on the women's side. No, so just Graf, Navratilova. I mean, women's side, we've had a couple in recent years that were a bit left field, but both have Grand Slam pedigree in the form of Vondrousova and Mechikova. Both made a French Open final, with 1-1. Both were left field in terms of winning Wimbledon, but I think in terms of romantic runs to the title, which is I think what you're thinking of, really, Ghosty. Okay, we've got 15:30 here after a double fault from Alcaraz. Let's just have a quick look. Wimbledon.
Does Bartoli work?
The Open era. This is the men's side I'm looking at right now. Hewitt was not a romantic run, far from it, but a bit of a surprise in the nature. He was a sort of beginning of a new trend of Wimbledon winners from the back of the court, but far from romantic. I mean, Agassi was a romantic win because of the backstory with him basically disliking the tournament intensely and then falling in love with it. Anyway, we've got a match point here for Carlos Alcaraz, 5-3, 40-30. Where are you going to go with this serve? I'm going to go backhand, I reckon. No, he goes into the forehand. Doesn't matter anyway. Alcaraz gets the job done. Comfortable as the scoreline suggests. Straight set. I think we just had a thought at the beginning of the match. I think there might have been a break point or two. Norrie certainly applied some pressure to Alcaraz's serve at the beginning of the match. And for the first 10 minutes, we thought we had a match. But then once Alcaraz went up a break in that first set, it was good night, Vienna. You agree, Damien?
I don't know what the mic setup you're using
Yeah, I
is,
need
but
to-
sometimes
can't
it's
hear you. Why
like,
can't I hear you?
yeah, you have me
Turn off
muted. That's
Cam
for.
Norrie. Can I hear you now?
Yeah, I joined earlier to say
Oh, I know why. I've got
Bartoli
the
for a
Steam
second.
right on mute. I'll unmute it, then I will be able to hear you. The audience can hear you. I just can't.
I know.
I can hear you now.
Okay, yeah, I was just gonna say that. First of all, I joined earlier to just say how about Bartoli, and then I quickly
Yeah. I was going to get to the women's.
showed myself out. Also, I don't know what mic setup you're using, but like sometimes it's very clear, and I don't know if you just have to be speaking to it very like frontally or something like that. I don't know.
Okay. Thank you. I'll
Yeah,
hold it near my mouth.
sometimes. Oh yeah, now it's very good. Yeah, I mean, what was the question? Sorry.
Alcaraz, Norrie. It started. I think from memory, I was busy watching the women's match at the time between Anisimova and Pavlyuchenkova. But I remember the first 3 or 4 games and Alcaraz being in a spot of bother on his serve. And of course, I'm not thinking, oh, Norrie's going to win this match. But I was thinking at that juncture, oh, is Alcaraz going to do his usual sort of dropping a set sort of needlessly en route to a 4-set win, which I think many of us thought could well happen. And the match began in that fashion, but from the minute he broke serve, that was pretty much it.
Yeah, I mean, that's how it typically works for Carlos. Definitely this kind of a routine win. I mean, it's only a benefit for him, obviously. We saw at the French that dropping 6 sets en route wasn't a problem in playing like a 5.5 hour final. So I think he would have been fine anyway. But, just getting it done so quickly, so comfortably, it can't hurt him. And yeah, it's slightly surprising that, with 2 very messy players, we didn't get a messy match at all. We just got, a total like outclassing of the opponent, and that's what he was able to do here. I don't know if you saw this today, but even Tennis TV kind of couldn't contain themselves. There was this pretty I think they overstepped the line for sure, but basically they put this compilation from their Rio match, and the title was like how an injured Alcaraz almost beat Norrie. And yeah, I mean, it was a little disrespectful to Cam, but this match was not as exciting as their previous clashes. Just straight up one player was 2 leagues ahead of the other.
Yeah, those 2 clay court finals they had in. Was the Buenos Aires one competitive or I think it was straight sets for Carlos, right?
It was pretty good though. It was like 7-5 in the seconds. There was a moment where you think that it might get even better. I feel like their matches thus far, all of them pretty much have been much better than today.
Nerland came up with one of his more rational questions earlier about is Alcaraz better on grass than, or he's basically saying he's better on grass than clay. What you're saying, that was pretty much at the beginning of the match. I think I came down to a conclusion that you might well come to, which is that there's arguments both ways, but I think it's just the slightly less competition on the grass means he walks into semi-finals a bit more blind than he probably does on clay.
I don't know. I mean, last year, 2024, around Garros, he walks into the semis while, not having a warm-up swing at all. Yeah, it's tough to say which way we should go. I think slow hard belongs in the conversation as well.
Yeah.
It's always been a good question, which conditions does Alcaraz favor, which conditions favor his game the most? And I don't think we've ever really had a clear answer. Obviously, since he was, coming up, clay was always what people thought of because Spain, because the next Nadal and the likes. But there was a certain moment, of course, when his hardcourt achievements were actually better. Now he's dominating the grass pretty much more than the other surfaces. But you're right that the competition obviously is also a little different. I don't know. I mean, in this case, we thought he had a highway to the final, and he's kind of making it seem like it, despite going 5 with Fognini.
42-5 for the year, but I don't know how many matches it is. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm thinking of one loss since the natural surfaces came into play.
Yep.
Of course, that one loss has an asterisk against Holger Rune because he had an injury that forced him out of Madrid at the final in Barcelona. Of course, you can go on a win streak as well, but I in a way, I prefer to go back all the way to include Monte Carlo. And just start with the natural surfaces. David Goffin was the one that preceded it. Anyway, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, plus 7, of course, in Roland Garros is 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Once you get to Madrid, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28 matches, 1 loss. And I think if he's healthy, the last few points in that whole Garuna match, or the last few games, I mean, I think the final point of that match, which is a passing shot.
I think you skipped some if you're going back all the way to Monte Carlo, didn't you?
No, I think I've got it. If I've got Monte Carlo
it's gonna be
beat
5 in Monte Carlo, then like what, 4 in Barcelona?
5 in Barcelona as well, so 10.
But he lost
10.
to Rune.
Yeah, but I'm including that because it's one loss in.
Okay. But then
matches.
you also have Rome and Roland Garros, and then Queens and Wimbledon.
I mean, let's go again then. So 5
So
Monte
it's way
Carlo,
more than this.
5 Monte Carlo, 10 Barcelona, 6 more is it in Rome? So it's 16. Then you add 7 in Roland Garros. Yeah, you're right. 16 add 7 is 23. Then you go your 5 for Queens, so it's
10 on grass,
8, and then another. Yeah, right.
33.
So I've got 28. Of course, that's not including Wimbledon because I'm looking on the ATP website. So it's 28 plus another 5. So it's 1 in 33. 32 and 1 since the natural surfaces. Which is mega. Anyway, he's in the semi-finals. He's going to play Taylor Fritz because Taylor Fritz won his match earlier on today in 4 sets. This was very much the bridesmaid at the time in terms of which match to watch because we had Sabalenka against Siegemund producing fireworks on center court. I actually had the first half an hour of this match exclusively, and I couldn't wait for Siegemund Sabalenka to start. And as soon as it started, it didn't disappoint. And I guess there was just a moment but it's a lengthy moment where Khachanov takes the third set kind of out of nowhere, and then he's also getting some attention tailored to his right foot, but he did dismiss concerns about that, just basically saying that a lot of tennis players have some kind of strapping on their right foot under their sock. And even though it got a bit worse for Taylor because he goes down a break, but in the end, I guess a fairly comfortable win for him over Khachanov today.
Yeah, first 2 sets were like pretty flawless. Then suddenly he just goes down 2 breaks in the third for whatever reason. There are definitely some like errors in bunches, but over the course of the match, I think Khachanov still pretty much paid the price for his typical pretty passive-ish approach to the game. Like, I know he's hitting the ball hard, but wasn't really like playing, I don't know, first strike tennis or anything like that. Just trying to rally with Taylor, who is very consistent as well, not having the same serve either. And when he went down a break in the 4th, that was when you could start getting worried, of course, considering the MTO. He managed to handle that. Finally makes that semi at Wimbledon. Obviously, he had some chances before. Rafa, Lorenzo, both definitely winnable. But, right now, first time he makes it, he's going to have a massive mountain to climb. In the semifinals, but he's kind of done his job for the fortnight, even though his job was not easy at all. Of course, with the kind of draw that he got, even if someone's getting 2 grass court titles in the warm-up swing, usually they're gonna be a favorite to like go deep at Wimbledon. But in this very case, we had to kind of like wait for the results of the matches against Diallo, against Pecci Pericard, because these opponents were just simply really, really difficult. Now he's done it, and basically from here, anything is a bonus for sure.
I think many of us were seeing it like this, and it did turn out that way. And it shouldn't do, of course, in terms of logic, but actually it was always going to get easier for Taylor in terms of the first round. Again, I mean, his draw was horrible, but once he got through the first 2 rounds, which I think everyone was a bit concerned about, it was like, I think he's now probably getting to the semis. So in fact, the weight of probability of him winning his 3rd round against David, and it was just looked like once he gets through those horrible first 2 rounds against Diallo, and previous to that, of course, was in Pecci Pericard, as you highlighted. Those were the ones we thought. So we were all or many of us were putting Taylor in our semi-finals, but it was like, but he could go out first round. But once he gets through that, it's like, oh, now I can just sort of forget about Taylor until the semi-finals almost. And
especially with Medvedev, Zverev, Berrettini, all of them going out in the first round. Even actually, all of them going out in the first round. So at some point it kind of became a quarter of Taylor, Fritz, and co. And he managed to obviously get it done. Yeah, I think by the 3rd round I was like, okay, now I think he's just gonna do it now. Sure, Davidovich Fokina is still pretty difficult. Sure, Khachanov can, but it really opened up. But the first 2 rounds, had to somehow survive that, was able to. I'm not sure the other semifinalists or the other quarterfinalists would have. It was just this difficult.
Indeed. I mean, it's good in a way that we've got this semi-final in terms of some competition for Carlos, in terms of the fact that, Taylor's got incredible pedigree on the surface. You mentioned the previous quarterfinals that he had, and have some regrets about both of those. He also said in his on-court interview at the end of today's quarterfinal that he was just relieved it didn't go 5 because he felt the momentum slipping away from him. And of course, memories of those 5-set losses would have come flooding back. I know, as I was saying that about it being competitive in the semis, but I mean, the gap between Alcaraz and pretty much anyone on the tour who isn't called Yannick or Novak is quite big. But at least it gets a little bit narrower when you get the 4th or 5th best player in the world in the form of Taylor Fritz. I say 4th or 5th because I think he's ranked 5 currently, but he is going to usurp Jack Draper at number 4. And this is, maybe Taylor's best surface. Again, competition, etc. Clearly, it's not clay. And of course, he's been in a hard court slam final. But, he's winning tournaments on grass, with some regularity. I think he's up there with Alcaraz. And I think he's maybe got the 3rd most grass court titles in the draw. So he's ahead of Sinner in terms of that. And so it's just Alcaraz and Djokovic.
Who's the second player?
Might be joint as well. So it might be a joint.
I think he's just alone at number 2, isn't he?
Oh, is he ahead of Alcaraz then?
I mean, Alcaraz has 2 queens and 2 Wimbledon.
Yeah,
Taylor has
2 queens. Taylor Fritz has how many Eastbournes? 2 or
5? 4 Eastbournes and 1 Stuttgart. Taylor has 50% of his career titles on grass. So I think he's just joints. I mean, he's just second alone behind Novak. Novak having, I think, only 8, but all of them being Wimbledon. No, sorry, 7 Wimbledon plus 1, of course, Queens.
One of the
Queens, Eastbourne.
One of the 2 Alcaraz wins in the past over Taylor came at the Laver Cup. And the other one coming in fairly quick conditions on Miami, hard in 2023, when Carlos obviously made the semis that year, losing to Yannick. But listen. So let me go back to spread some Taylor optimism before we eventually give the ultimate thoughts. If Carlos is a bit leaky, if he's able to drop a set to who's he dropped sets to? He dropped 2 sets to Fabio Fognini in the first round. He's dropping sets as well elsewhere en route against refresh my memory in terms of the 2 people he's dropped, because he's dropped 4 sets in total, hasn't he?
Yeah, Jan-Lennart Struff.
Jan-Lennart Struff, yeah. Who's a long way from his 2023 best. And of course, Andrei
Rublev, yeah.
So he can definitely drop a set to Taylor Fritz. Definitely. If he's dropping sets to those guys. I know it's not as simple as that, because I think the deeper Alcaraz goes in a tournament, the slightly more focused his mind becomes. So this is not me predicting a 5-set epic. The problem is if it's a 5-set epic and then we lean on Carlos's 5-set record as well, which doesn't read good for Taylor. Is there any path to victory for Taylor?
I don't really buy it, but yeah, if there is a path, it just probably depends on Carlos, and maybe Taylor is serving extremely well, just being relentless off the ground and just not giving him the space to have fun, to clown a bit, which Carlos tends to do. I don't know. In the best of 5 format, I would assume that there's 1 set for Taylor there. Maybe there's even 2 on some days, but it's going to be difficult to win.
Indeed. All right, let's switch over to the 2 women's matches today. Let's begin with the match of the day across all 4 quarterfinals that we saw. Aryna Sabalenka against Laura Siegemund. I mean, it was a much... There was, the way this match panned out wasn't... Even though I had Laura a distant second favorite in this 2-horse race, it was also one of the ways I could see Aryna winning this match, in that it was a bit dramatic and she does lose the first set, and maybe Aryna's not quite at her best, and Laura does get under her skin. I think it was at the end of the second set when Laura went off for a break, and as soon as it happened, Aryna said to the umpire how long she got, and I think the umpire says 5 minutes, and you knew that she was just... She wouldn't have said that with 90% of the tour leaving the court at that point. And she was saying it to lay the grounds of, as soon as we get to 5 minutes, I'm going to be tapping my watch. But it was a bit more than, of course, a lot more than that got under Arena's skin in terms
And a
of
lot
the way.
more than that also in this toilet break.
Oh, go on. What happened? Or maybe I missed
In
something.
terms of the duration, I mean,
it was
also
more than
ended up
5
being
minutes.
a
It
lot
was
more
than
than
5
yeah.
minutes. Yeah. But Lauda obviously being her wily self in those moments by taking a bit more than 5 minutes. But I don't think there was huge gaps in terms, because I know it has been an issue with Lauda as well in the past of taking lengthy amounts of time to serve. I think that was a thing that got under Coco's skin, wasn't it, in New York a couple of years ago. But there was also a lot of the tennis coming on from Lauda that was annoying Arena today. Before I just get your thoughts on it, there was a point 3-1 love 15 on the Sabalenka serve. Now it's not quite love, but still, given the nature of the match, and she's got a really easy volley at the net. She's sort of on the run for it, Lauda.
Yeah, it's not that easy, but I think I remember which point you mean. Yeah,
it's a put away. It's a put away that it's not easy, but it's
like she's not very close to the net, right? She's not very close to the net hitting it.
A little gap, and it is on the run. I think it's probably what makes it maybe just
somewhat,
that extra.
yeah.
But it is a volley she puts away 7 or 8 times out of 10, if not a 9 out of 10. And she doesn't. Now that goes love 30, and given the breakfast we had seen until then, and I just wonder if that wasn't the only moment, because she gets to 3-2 and then 4-3. Every time Arena gets her teeth into the match, I kept thinking, okay, here we go. So whether that be the breakup that Arena goes in the second set or the sealing of the second set, and yet it's Lauda who gets the first break of serve in the third, I think it was, before Arena then gets it back on serve, and interrupt me if I've got any of these stats wrong. But then at 4-3, once it gets to 4-all, and then for the first time in the match, I think I said something, and this is pretty much a guesstimate, but I think the match was 2 hours and 54, and I think Arena led it for about 4 minutes, pretty much. And yeah, but of course it's the final 4 minutes, and you just need to win the last point of the match. Anyway, thoughts on anything I've said, or just thoughts in general on that match?
I think she might have won the first game as well in the third set. But anyway, not that important. Yeah, I think so. But not that important anyway. Yeah, I mean, everything about Zygmunt's game and personality really is about annoying the opponent. She was taking so much time to serve. She was also extending the gaps between the points on return to Sabalenka's frustration. Whether it's gamesmanship or whether it's outside the rules, I think that's for the umpire to decide, really. Like if it's too much, then she should get punished for it. On serve, I think she got her first time violation like 2 hours, 15 minutes into the match. Okay. Again, I couldn't really see the shot clock on the broadcast, so I can't say if the umpire was correct or not in, giving it so late, because she did take so much time to serve. Of course, between the serves, when she misses the first, she's got infinite time. That's just how the rules are written.
Yeah,
maybe wrongly, but that is the case. And yeah, I think that's all very, very annoying, and also combined with her court craft, obviously, just the way she lures you in and just makes you play so uncomfortable, like shots that you aren't used to, very much unconventional, so many like cat and mouse points that she's good at. Yeah, but when she actually could finish off the match, she wasn't able to. She didn't have the 3 points that obviously Sabalenka gets. She didn't really have anything for free when Sabalenka just decided to just trade forehand slices with her. Sabalenka just thought, okay, yeah, I'm gonna play your game, and then Zygmunt, because of how nervous she was, I suppose, she wasn't really able to put it away in the third. Basically, everything that she was doing up until that point, like if she just kept it up, probably gives her the win. But she's just starting to miss some neutral forehand slices, which is really an unmissable shot if you're just playing it like that. And an opportunity missed for her. But I saw a comment, somebody put it on my Twitter, that said that this was a performance unworthy of a world number 1 from Sabalenka. I actually think it's completely the other way around. It's very much that, just fighting through and surviving a match that frustrates you, an opponent that is annoying you so much. It's actually a performance very much worthy of being a world number 1. Her consistency at the slams is something that we've said so many things about. I don't think she's on a streak of semis, but she's definitely on a streak of quarterfinals at least. That is lasting for such a long time right now.
2021,
And
I think.
really,
2021
even
Wimbledon, maybe even. Did she get to the
even
semis that year? So it
no,
might
that
be
was that was a semi. Yeah.
Yeah, so French Open 21, I think.
Yeah, which is insane. Like, especially for a player who getting onto the tour, we were thinking was going to be another one of these erratic power hitters. And for a long time she was. And now you just can always put her into the quarterfinals, at least at a major. Of course, the seeding helps with that, but still, I mean, she just never loses. She pulls through matches like this. And that's why, you know, she's number one by a very healthy number of points, despite not winning a slam this year.
She had a toughish draw as well. And so actually I thought this one might be the first year that she doesn't get to a quarter since that French Open in 2021, because I had Vondrousova playing her in the third round, her Berlin conqueror, and yet Vondrousova, of course, lost to Raducanu. But anyway, she came to the net 43 times today, but that is also, of course, because of the nature of her opponent. Yeah. But I do want to say something that you touched upon, which I do think was apparent on occasion when it came to Laura, and that was her nerve management. It was really tough for her to first serve it out the first time of asking in the first set, and you could see that she was so tight. But she does get over the line in the second set. And then when it came to that third set 4-3 moment, if you like, when she's up a break there, serving at 4-3, the forehand slice just didn't get slicey anymore. It was just sort of lofting, whether it would be on return, the sort of chop return, or just sometimes from neutral positions. It was sort of looping and then landing out, or just not slicey enough, if that makes sense. Again, super nervy, I thought.
Yeah, sure. I think that's how she lost the break as well. Just Sabalenka puts a decent return in play. She's just trying to forehand slice through the middle of the court. It ends up being long. Yeah. This is stuff that, like, if you're playing this kind of style, you cannot be missing neutral slices. It's just not really something you can do. It's not a shot you're risking on. And yeah, obviously that was also part of the nerves that she was feeling. Maybe a good choice from Sabalenka to just kind of play that game with her in this given moment, you know. Not at the beginning of the match when she was lured into the net, for example, as you highlighted 43 times, she was generally just tempted to, I don't know, hit a big approach shot, you know, whether it lands in or not, whatever, get to the net, whatever the position is. And on that very moment, she just kind of, you know, stayed back, traded these slices with Zygmunt. Of course, she doesn't look too comfortable playing them. You know, it's not really her game at all, but it was definitely the right choice at the time. And yeah, one more reason to kind of think that this is a performance worthy of being the world number one.
Sabalenka's opponent in Thursday's semi-final will be Amanda Anisimova. This match took the way that I thought it might, in terms of just Anisimova just being too much in most departments for Pavlyuchenkova.
2022 Roland Garros, by the way, not 21.
Oh, okay. 2022 Roland Garros. Okay.
Yeah, I just checked. I wasn't sure either by now, but yeah.
Yeah, okay, fair enough.
So it's like, what, 11 straight quarterfinals right now, and actually that includes just one quarterfinal loss. So 10 out of the last 11 is semis.
And that quarterfinal loss was against Mila Andreeva when she was sick.
Bug,
yeah, it could have been a point or two either way as well. Yeah, I was mentioning today a sort of natural surfaces slam curse. It's not quite that dramatic. It's not like, you know, she's been in like 3 or 4 French Open and Wimbledon finals. But with Sabalenka's losses, you know, across the natural surfaces, there were many of those where, like, ifs, buts, and maybes. You know, the breakup, was it 1 breakup or 2 breaks up on Mukova in 23?
Definitely a match point, 5-2 and match point. But what's also important to remember is that over the last 5 years, she's only played Wimbledon twice.
Yeah. So, and those 2 occasions she got to the semi-final. Now it's 3.
Yeah.
And obviously, and she's been in the semis on every occasion. Yeah. I saw I think it was from Fergus, actually, just a wild thing about him going, this is, you know, by far her weakest surface. And I'm like, not at all.
Not at all.
It's just that she just hasn't played enough Wimbledons for a start. And I know that maybe
one was the ban, one was COVID, so nobody played, but still she didn't play in 20. She didn't play in 22 because of the ban. And then, of course, last year she was injured. So basically 2 Wimbledons since she became a top-ish player, and both of them she's made the semis. Actually, now 3 out of 3.
Anisimova is going to be her opponent in Thursday's semi-final after Amanda came through a bit of a weird encounter. As say 6-1, 5-2 she was at, and looking like she was just going to cruise through, I think, in about an hour and a quarter. She also had match points later on because Pavlyuchenkova held, by the way, for 3-5 and then broke for 4-5, I think. And it might have been at 4-5 actually on Pavlyuchenkova's serve that the match points came and went for, I think it was at 4-5, 15-40. And then Pavlyuchenkova holds for 5-all. We then go into a tie break, and Pavlyuchenkova has, I think, 5 set points in all. And once it was 6-3, you thought, okay, we are going 3 sets here. Anisimova looked like she was struggling with the mental side of it. I think there's 2 elements in tennis. Sometimes it's just sort of nerviness, you're on the precipice or whatever. But with her, it was sort of more of a gradual, and we saw her falling to the ground between points, not in slipping or jumping or whatever, but just falling to the ground crestfallen, as she looked like she was seeing this match slip away from her, even though she was the better player for 90% of it.
Yeah, I mean, not gonna lie, this is the one I watched the least today, even though yesterday on Last Ball Drops, I said that this was the one that I was most excited by. But that's just kind of how it went. I saw Anisimova was dominating at first, and then just kind of never really turned it on for long. Yeah, we said something yesterday on Last Ball Drops as well, that Pavlyuchenkova has so much experience in Grand Slam quarterfinals, but it's also experience losing in them. I don't know if that contributes maybe to that second set tiebreak. Obviously, she should have been out of the tournament earlier, but also should have taken it to a decider. So in the end, I mean, I guess it's kind of hard to analyze. You can look at it from both ways. But obviously, Anisimova is super strong on grass as well. And
yeah, the better player won, I think. And as I saw Pavlyuchenkova trudge off, I had nothing about game style, maybe partly because of their nationality, but I did think I watched Karen Khachanov do a similar thing earlier, and both of them are sort of closer to the end of their careers than the beginning, probably more so in Pavlyuchenkova's case.
Yeah.
But just with both of those players, it's just like, you know what? Quarterfinals is possible. In Pavlyuchenkova's case, even a slam final. Of course, in Khachanov's case, it's been semifinals. But as they get deep at these tournaments, maybe partly because of a nice draw or some plucky wins and grit and determination, you just know that it's coming to an end at some point. And I think maybe they know it too.
I think it's easier to say with Khachanov. Pavlyuchenkova, if she wins today, can she win this slam? I think absolutely. She almost beat Sabalenka in Australia. It's also best of 3. The top players are not quite as consistent typically. So, yeah, I think, she would have had a shot. Karen, yeah, maybe it's a little more difficult. Like, semis felt like an absolute max at this tournament for Khachanov. Even if he gets through Fritz today, then he's got Djokovic or Sinner. And yeah, some players might actually feel it. I don't know about Pavlyuchenkova's mindset because, again, she's lost a lot of Grand Slam quarterfinals. But I think if she felt that way, that's not really justified.
Right. Anyway, Anisimova, Sabalenka semi-final. The head-to-head is 5-3 in favor of Amanda. I know this has been talked up in the past. I don't think they've played together on grass, though, have they? We've got clay, hard.
If so, then I don't remember. But yeah, even if they did, it was a long time ago, and I don't think they did. Yeah. I mean, we've said many things about this head-to-head before. Definitely was a problem for Arina. Even last year they went 1-1, but then again, yeah, this year's Roland Garros, Arina didn't really make it seem like it's a problem matchup anymore. I don't know. There's been parts of this year when Sabalenka is mainly struggling with players who hit even faster than her. So I don't know, like Tauson, Pavlyuchenkova in some of these matches as well. And then there's also parts of the year where she's struggling mostly with variety players, like on grass this year, right? Vondrousova, Zygmunt. I don't know. At Roland Garros, I was excited for this match, and Arina just made it seem like, yeah, it's not a problem matchup for her anymore. So I'm not saying Anisimova doesn't have a shot. I just kind of have to see it again, I suppose, and we know how strong Sabalenka is right now in terms of at least getting to these slam finals.
Became a difficult mental battle for Anisimova, and despite the fact she won it, there wasn't anything about the way she won it that made me feel more confident about her mentally going forward in super tight matches, in huge events, and it's only going to get bigger from here on.
How about the Noskova one in the 4th round, though?
Did she? Oh, okay. I don't recall that match. Oh, of course. Yeah, of course. I do remember bits of that match, but was it a tough mental battle for Amanda?
I think so. I mean, she was down for pretty much. Yeah, she was heavily down in sets 2 and 3. Both she makes a comeback. Once it was enough, once it wasn't.
That's
Definitely
where
one
I
that
think
can go
about
either way.
incredible mental strength, or coming to mental reserves. I'm also a bit more interested as well about nerve management when you're the leader and a front runner, and seeing how it is as you get reeled in. If you can, and I guess you can look at that and say, look at the scoreboard and go, well, she did that today. But I don't know, Pavlyuchenkova, I think.
Yeah, today I wouldn't count today as a good example. No.
No, exactly. But there's this, as I say, there's sort of, I mentioned this a bit before. I can't remember whether it was on in which juncture, but there's sort of two. There's one is that sort of nervy bit when you're trying to get the, but when you're coming from behind, as she was in those ones, they are mental battles in a different way of keeping on believing that you can get back into the match and ultimately win it. But they're a little bit easier coming from behind. It's when you should be winning that match today comfortably, and you can just see. I think it's also because I'm watching the body language as she's rolling around the grass. Just can't believe how it is. When it comes to Arena, and I know it's been a mental question for her until she gets over the line in Australia in 2023, and I've kind of forgotten about it since. I know you can point at the 2 losses in Grand Slam finals to Coco in particular, but I don't worry as much with her. I look at her sort of not quite screaming at her box, but in a sort of, a frustrated way with her box. But I sort of go, you know what? It's sort of Djokovic. Okay, this is okay with her. The anger's actually going to fuel her to victory, and it did so today. And so I guess also when it comes to experience at Grand Slam semi-finals, Arena ticks that box pretty well off compared to Amanda as well. Now in 2025, certainly not 3 years ago.
Yeah, I don't remember who I was watching the other day, but I definitely remember seeing a match where I was just like seeing how the player was reacting to losing points. Yeah. And I was just thinking, yeah, it's done. It doesn't really, there's no point here. Khachanov today was kind of similar to, I know that this was actually when a good streak for him started, but he had these 2 break points first of the match at the beginning of the 3rd set, and he just misses like very tough return. And he's screaming at his box, he's just, and you can see it's rattling him so much that he is not really like having a shot in this match. Of course, then it actually turned. So yeah, maybe not the most fortunate example. But...
Yeah. Is there any final thing on this in terms of what we can expect? I mean, both of them are going to be hitting 7 bells of X out of the ball. I just feel as though just a fraction in most departments, Arena's going to be slightly better. I think there's a bit more variety to Arena's game nowadays than ever before, and probably slightly less in terms of Amanda. That doesn't mean that Amanda can't win this match, but as you can tell, everything in my head is sort of leaning towards Arena. But anything about the dynamic of points and how we can expect that to play out, probably a little bit more predictable than today's match with Siegemund that Arena had.
Oh, for sure, yeah. And it's difficult to say anything here. Yeah, it's like Arena is just that little bit more consistent, has tiny bit more margin. I think you're also right that she has more variety in her game. Does Amanda strike the ball pretty much as well as Arena does? Sure. So obviously both outcomes are possible, but on just like a mental level and versatility, like being able to adjust to the situation level, I do think Arena is that bit better. So yeah, she's the favorite for sure.
Sabalenka has qualified for the WTA finals, and it's only the 8th of July, courtesy of James from the WhatsApp group. It's also kind of wild that she's on 7,395 points for the year. Just incredible. Just forget the Middle East, basically, Arena, and the rest is just absolutely nuts. She's kind of a few points away from having the best Grand Slam year, or the best WTA individual year for probably 30 years, but those few points in some of those matches means that she's been the bridesmaid more often than not, especially in some of the big ones. Indian Wells springs to mind, as well as obviously the 2 Slam finals. She's just two wins away from the WTA points record. I don't quite understand that comment from Carson, but
that it's not about the race, it's about the ranking.
Oh, in terms of okay. So if she
52
wins
wins.
Wimbledon, she'll have earned the most points of anyone ever in history on the WTA ranking.
I mean, I haven't seen that stat, but it sounds realistic. You know, Serena, even when she almost won the calendar Grand Slam, she was playing like 7-8 events a year. So
Yeah, right.
sounds realistic. I actually checked, and the last time somebody qualified for the WTA finals at Wimbledon was Serena in 2015, and that's when she won, of course, the 2 slams before, and she also won Wimbledon. So yeah, it's a pretty big achievement for sure. But as we've said a few times by now, I mean, it's a slam-based sport. In 5 years, if she doesn't win a slam this year, we're not really going to remember how excellent the season was for her. Like, we don't talk about, I don't know, Caroline Wozniacki being number 1 for 2 straight years, year-end. Of course, this is a stretch because Wozniacki was just getting there mainly because Serena wasn't playing enough, and Sabalenka is actually dominating the tour. But nonetheless, the slam finals are kind of the most important part. So some people even have issues with me or anybody else saying that she is dominating the tour. I think she definitely is, but it also shows how much this is just slam oriented, and that's the most important thing. That's the thing that makes your legacy.
Absolutely. Sabalenka, Anisimova, tick. We've already done a Shelton Sinner preview yesterday, so do check that out. But Shelton's got a shot, right?
Hear me, since my internet seems to have... Okay, maybe I'm back.
Am I back?
Yeah, I think it was me. Anyway, yeah, I think so. Sinner, obviously, we don't know the extent of that elbow issue, how much it will be hampering him. Today, he didn't practice. You know, if he's just gearing... No, he canceled his practice today.
Ooh.
So if he's just like gearing up for tomorrow, trying to gather all possible energy, maybe. But it just makes you think that, yeah, Shelton absolutely should have a shot. It should be way more competitive than the last meeting at Wimbledon, which, of course, Ben was arriving at like wiped out after the 3 consecutive 5-setters. Now he's healthy. Now he's rested. Now he's well rested. There's a concern about Yannick. I can't call it a 50-50, of course, but yeah, I think he absolutely does have a shot.
Cool. That's it. Done. Ticked. Another day at Wimbledon ticked off pretty early in the day. Probably, in fact, not pretty sure. Definite in terms of at least the main draw singles done by 7 p.m., maybe even a bit earlier than that local time. I think it was just before 7 that they were all done with Alcaraz getting that straight sets win over Cam Norrie early today. All right, anyway, tick, job done. Speak to you all soon. Going to end the stream now because I've got things to do. So yeah, everyone else, you know the drill.
If you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe and click that notification bell so you don't miss out on all things tennis.